Good morning. Learning as chus for Shleima Filan Chaya Baserach and for Bastian Baschaya. We're on Daf Peches Amid Beis, about 12 lines from the bottom. Ton Rabban. Ein Mechasen Elo Ba'ofer. Divrei Beis Shammai. Beis Shammai says, the pasuk is mashma. The only thing you can use for Kisi Adam is dirt. Not ash, like we've discussed. We've talked about different forms of dirt, different things that can be used to grow in them. So those things are kosher for kisei adam, but not afer, not pure ash. Matzinu afer shekari offer afer shekari offer. We find ash that's called dirt. Shenamavalaku latame may offer may offer streifas hapara. May offer streifas hapara. You can take to be matar the tame from the earth that you used to burn that you burnt the paraduma. So you see, you're calling something that's burnt, you're calling it dirt. May offer streifas hapara. That you call what's burned the burned cow, you call it earth. B'Shammai, the Shammai says, Afar Sreifa Ikri, Afar Stamala Ikri. Says that we call what's burned, the earth that's burned in that it's burned with the Sreifa Sapara. When you call it earth of something that was burned, then you call it earth. But Afar Stama Lo Yikri. But you don't call something that's burned earth.
Where are we up to?
We're on Daf Peches Amid Beis, 8 lines from the top. Sagt Gemara, Tana hoisifu alein hashachar v'hakol. In addition to the things that we've said are kosher for kisei adam, we're also going to add on to it charcoal, ground up charcoal. Kol is a kind of like blue makeup. V'nikras pisulin, Rashi says that's the dust of a millstone. V'yesh oimim avarzanech, which Rashi attaches as orpiment, which is again another type of makeup. Chol is a blue makeup. This is a yellow makeup. Amar Rava. B'schash Amar Avram Avinu v'anoichi afar ve'efer. That he said, the schus that Avram Avinu said about himself, that he is dirt and he is ashes. Zachu banu l'shtei mitzvos. Efer para ve'afar soita. He was zeicha to the ashes of the paraduma and the afer, the offer and the earth of a saita. They would burn they get ashes from burning the paraduma, and they would use dirt in the process of being matara saita. In fact, the Gemara nami offer kisei hadam. Why do they also include the dirt? The dirt of kisei hadam is something that was zeicha to because of Avram's anivas. Zaktamara Hasam Hekshem mitzvah Ika Hanolek. Although there's a mitzvah of Kisei Adam, and it's a good thing to have extra mitzvahs, but it doesn't directly benefit a person by doing Kisei Adam, because when you shecht an animal, it's already kosher before you do the Kisei Adam. The Kisei Adam does not affect our ability to eat it. So it's just a mitzvah, b'fnei atzma, it doesn't have any benefit to it. Masha'enki, the other two mitzvahs that the shtei mitzvahs offer para and afer para for offer saita, there's a benefit. That means that the paraduma makes people that they become tar from their tumah, so they're able to eat things, that they're no longer tameh. And the Saita is matir the Isha to her husband. V'amar B'schar she'amar Avram Avinu. From the schar that Avram Avinu said, Emichut v'atzroich nal, from the fact that he said that he's not going to take after the Mulchama with Avimelech that he did, or with the five Malachim, that he's not going to take even a string or a shoelace. Zachu banav l'shtei mitzvahs. They got the two mitzvahs. L'chut shel tcheles, ritzua shel tefillin. They got the string of tcheles in a tzitzis, and with the strap of a tefillin. So Bishak Tumar, we just made the assertion that the schusim that Avram Avinu got, when we said Vanachi off of Ephraim, he got the mitzvahs of Paraduma and of Saita, because those have a benefit. When we say that you're getting you were zeicha to a mitzvah, it means a benefit of the mitzvah. So what is the benefit of these two mitzvahs, of the mitzvah of tzitzis and the mitzvah of tefillin? So tomorrow, Ritzur shel tefillin ksev ro kol am ha'aretz ki shem Hashem nikra alecha. The nations of the world will see that the shame of Hashem is on you. That they see the tefillin and they fear the Yidden because of the tefillin. So that's a concrete benefit that the Yidden gave, and that's why the Rebbe Shem gave tefillin as a reward. What's the reward? What's the benefit of tzitzis? So by the Tanya, why is the blue tchelis of a tzitzis different from all other colors? Why was it chosen? Because the blue of tchelis is similar to the ocean. And the ocean is similar to the sky. And the sky blue of the heavens is similar to the color of sapphire. And the color of sapphire is similar to Kisei HaKavod. Vayirus Alikei Yisrael. Where's the pasuk on the side? V'yeru Alikei Yisrael v'tachas raglov, and underneath his legs they'll see the Rebbeinu Shalom v'tachas raglov, and underneath his feet kamasei livnes hasapir, like the work of a sapphire, u'ka'etzem hashamayim l'tayr, which is similar to the blue of the heavens. U'ksiv kamare heaven sapir demus kisei. And then we say that the look of the sapphire is like the demus of the Kisei HaKavod. So therefore, it's a benefit to the Yidden that they got the mitzvah of tzitzis, which in the end is daima to the Kisei HaKavod. So there's different pshatim exactly how that is a benefit. Now, in some places Rashi says that since the Rebbeinu Shalom is reminded of the Yidden when he thinks of his Kisei HaKavod, because the Yidden wear tzitzis, so he gives them benefits. Or more simply, that it could be when we see the tzitzis, remind us to do the mitzvahs. This is what we were all grown up. We all grew up with. When you look at this, it reminds you to do mitzvahs. The way it reminds us to do mitzvahs is because it reminds us of the Kisei HaKavod, even though we don't know what the Kisei HaKavod looks like, but that's the theory.
Yes, this is where royal blue comes from.
That's right. Yeah. I think also the Beis Hamikdash itself was a blue color. The bricks, the stones. The Gemara in the beginning of Baba Basra says that the Beis Hamikdash had stones that were like the ocean, the color of the ocean, the blue of the ocean. So, there's a lot of allusions to blue, royal blue. Amar Rabbi Abba, Kasher Gezel Hanechal, when someone steals something and then they consume what they stole, it's very difficult. It's a difficult thing to dig out. Because once it's consumed, there's no ability to return it. Right? When someone steals something, someone takes something with someone else, he has a mitzvah of hashava, he has to return it. But once he ate it, it's no longer possible. This is a continuation of the pasuk we said in Melichot Atzrei Chanal, that Avram Avinu said he didn't take even a shoelace or a string, He says he's going to return everything that he got, that his men took, except that which is the men who accompanied him, that which they ate. Because once it was taken and eaten, it's no longer possible to return. Amr Rabbi Yechon, Mishum Elazar Bar Shimon, Kol Makom She'ata Moitze Dvarav Shel Rabbi Eliezer Ben Oisher Rabbi Yosei Agdali Ba'agada, Asei Aznecha Ka'afrachas. You should make your whenever you hear the words of Rabbi Eliezer, you should make your ears like a funnel. Meaning you should listen very carefully. Because we say in the pasuk, Loi meravchem mikol ha'amim chashek Hashem b'chem. It's not because you are larger than all the other nations. Amalem HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yisrael, chashkani b'chem shafilu b'shashani mashpia lechem dula atem matem atzmachem. The Baruch Shem is the reason why I love the Bnei Yisrael is because even when the Baruch Shem is being native to them, when the Baruch Shem is giving them things, they still make themselves small. They're not arrogant and they're modest. I gave greatness to Avram, like we said earlier on the block, that he made him see, he said, I'm like dirt and ash. The Moshe of Aaron, the Moshe gave Gedula to Moshe and Aaron, he made them the Nesiim of Klal Yisrael. What are we? David was the Melech Yisrael, and he said, I am a worm and not a person. Non-Jews, are different. Idol worshippers are different. Nimrod was an emperor of the world. Said, let's build a city to challenge the Rebbeinu Shalom. Lepari Amar Mi Hashem, and Pari said, who is this Hashem that I should listen to him? L'sacheir Amar Mi b'chol elikei ha'aratzos. What was the whole pasuk? Mi b'chol elikei ha'aratzos asher hitzilu es arza biyadi ki yatzal Hashem es Yerushalayim biyadi. He said, who has ever been able to save themselves? This is what Sacheir said. Which God has ever been able to save his nation from me? I conquered the whole world, that the Rebbeinu Shalom will be able to save Yerushalayim. Nebuchadnezzar Amar El Alba Mosi of. Nebuchadnezzar said, I'm going to go on top of the clouds. L'chira Melech Tzur Amar Moshe Elikim Yeshavti Belev Yamid. He said that the what was the whole pasuk? Ben Adam Emar Lenagid Tsar Lenagid Tsar Koyamar Hashem Elikim Yan Gava Libcha V'Toymal El Ani Moshe Elikim Yishavti B'Lev Yam V'Ata Adam V'Loy Kel V'Titin Libcha K'Lev Elikim. He said, I'm going to sit in the Moshe Elikim, in the place where the Moshe sits, in the lave, in the heart of the sea. He said, I'm going to be able to challenge and sit in the Barshom's place. So all the Avdei Kechavim had no problem with the Gdula. It made them very boastful. Amar Rav Vitem Rav Yechon, God ol shenema b'Moshe v'Aaron Yosef ma shenema b'Avram. It's greater what it said about Moshe v'Aaron than what it said about Avram. The ilu b'Avram k'sev anachli yafa v'efa. They said, we are dust and dirt. Vilu Moshe v'Aaron k'sev anachnu ma. They said, what are we? So they're not even earth and dust and ashes. Amar Rava Vitem Rav Yechon, Eino olam iskayim al v'shul Moshe v'Aaron. The whole world is only standing because of Moshe Aaron. K'sev hacham anachnu ma. K'sev asam toila eretz al belima. Anachnu ma al belima. The world is standing on ma, on nothing. Then it's referring to the anivas of Moshe and Aaron. Rabbi Lah. Rabbi Lah said, Ein ha'olam miskayim el v'shmi sheboilem etzasem v'shas meriva. The world is only standing on those who they make themselves quiet in a time of machlekes. They keep their mouth shut. Shenema toila aretz al belima. So boila atzmai is bala Blima is the Balam. He made Bala Elam. He swallows what he says and he makes himself quiet. Rabbi Avo Omer, Mishem Esim Atzmai Kamisha Einai. It depends on those who make themselves as if they don't exist. Shenema, we tachas zeroyes oilam. So we touch underneath the arms of the world, and we change it, we darshan it to mean that the mitachas, those who are underneath, are the arms of the world, with the oilam, with the fact that those are below, they make themselves the ones who hold up the world. Amar Yitzchak, Ma'idechsev, ha'omnam ilaim, is there anyone who is an ilaim, tzaddik to daberun, he's going to say, tzidkus, mesharim tishbetu, and he'll be shayfet, mesharim tishbetu bnei adam. Those who are straight, those who have integrity, they're going to judge bnei adam. So we darshan ha'omnam ilaim, which we say, is there anyone who's quiet? We say, we darshan is ma'um nasei shel adam ba'olam hazeh. What is the umnus? What is the vocation of a person in this world? Yasem atzmei ilam. He should make himself umnam ilam. That he should make himself quiet. Yachal afle divrei Torah. You might say that he should be quiet and not be Isaac and divrei Torah. Talmud Leimer tzedek tedaberim. He should speak tad tzedek, which is Torah. Yachal yagas daite. Maybe he should lord it over others because he is learned. Talmud Leimer mesharim tishpetu bnei adam. Saying that how does that say it? Mesharim k'meisha aretz chalka shenoicha lidris. Should make himself like a path that everyone steps on. Those are the ones who should be shayfa b'nei adam. He shouldn't become arrogant because he is telling people what to do. Amar of Zira v'itei merabba bar Yirmiyah. Machsim ba'afar mechasim ba'afar ir hanidachas ba'efer ir hanidach ba'afar ir hanidachas. You can use the dust of the ir hanidachas to cover to for kisei adam. In fact, the din is that Ir Nidachas, a city that is all been oived avodah zara, you take everything from the city and you burn it, and it's also b'hana. Offer afra. It's not talking about the loose dust that can be gathered up and burnt, and therefore it's also b'hana, but rather the hard dirt that is not accessible, which there's no din to burn that, and therefore it's not asmana. The chsiv, there's kol sholot yikavetz al toich rechayva. The sarafta, you should take all of the belongings or the booty of the ir nidachas and bring it into the plaza and burn it. That means only those things just have to be gathered and then burnt. The hard earth that is not loose can't be gathered up just by gathering up, but rather it needs to be excavated in order to be brought to the center of the city. That there's no din of the shreifas ir nidachas, and therefore it can be used for kisei adam. Rav Amar mitzvahs lav lehanis nitnu. Rav says you could even know it's not a problem to use the afer, the burnt remnants after you burn the ir nidachas, because even though it's a mitzvah to burn it, even though you're using it for a mitzvah of kisei adam, that's not called having hana. Even though it's also b'hana, using it for kisei adam, you're not having hana. You're just carrying out a mitzvah. And we say mitzvah slav lehanis nitnu. It doesn't mean that we're not allowed to have hana from a mitzvah. What it means is doing a mitzvah is not considered to be hana. And the remnants of a ir nidachas are also hana, well, that means like we can't eat it, right? Because that will be hana. But using it for a mitzvah is not hana because mitzvah slav lehanis nitnu. Yoser Avinu kama lo laha shmaitza. Avinu was saying this over. Eisve rechumi l'Ravina. Shofar shel avodas kechavim lo yitok about. You can't use the shofar avodas kechavim for tkiyas shofar. My lav and taka lo yatsa. L'chayr it's saying you can't use since it's also b'hanot, the shofar that was used for avodas kechavim is also b'hanot. Therefore, you can't use it for tkiyas shofar because you're being nana by doing the mitzvah of tkiyas shofar. But we just said mitzvah slav lehanis nitnu. So what's the problem? So Gemara, loy imtaka yot. No, you could be, you can, if you would use it, you would be yotze the mitzvah, but it's still not. It's not a good look. It's not geschmack to use for obvious reasons to use a shefer avodas gechavim for kiyas shefer on Rosh Hashanah. It's better not to do so. We're saying you shouldn't do so. Shefer gechavim lo yitaka boy, but it's not that you're not going to be yotze because mitzvahs lav lehanas nenu. Even though it's also about no, you still could be used. Luv shavadas kechavim lo yita my lav and not lo yatsa. The same thing we say. You shouldn't use a lulav avodas kechavim for the mitzvah of lulav. Doesn't it mean to say that you're not yotze with it? So not al yatsa. You would be yatsa. Vatanya takala yatsa, not al yatsa. How could you say on both of these things that all the pasuk is all that we're saying is that you shouldn't do so because it's not appropriate? But we have a brisa that says if you do blow with the shayfer avodah zarah, you're not going to be yatsa, and if you use a lulav avodah zarah, you're not going to be yatsa. So that makes that teretz impossible. Ravashi hachi hashta. Ravashi says you can't compare that which we say you can't use a lulav or a shayfer avodah zarah for the mitzvahs to that which was saying that you can use the burnt ashes of the ir nidachas for kisei adam. Hasam shiura beinen va'avodas kechavim kedusim machtas shiura. This is a klal, a very not how should I say it? Not I forgot the word. It doesn't come easily. It's not. It doesn't sound logical. But we say the problem with using something that's also bahana for a mitzvah, using a lulav or a shir or a shayfer that is also bahana that was over used for avodas kechavim. It's not because it's be'etzem something that's also bahana is not qualified to be used for a mitzvah because you're having enough of the mitzvah. The mitzvah, it's not. The problem is not that it's asaba na. The problem is because it's asaba na, it's treated as if it's that makes it as if it doesn't have its form. It's as if it's treated as dust. Something that's asaba na loses its identity and it's treated as dust, and therefore it doesn't fulfill the shear of a shayfer for. It has to have a certain length, and this because it's asaba na. That causes it to be treated as if it's ground up into dust, and therefore it doesn't satisfy the shear of a shefer. And the same thing for a lulav and esrog. You're not going to have whatever the necessary shear is for a lulav and an esrog because it's asab hana, but not directly because the isser hana, and you're being nana by doing the mitzvah. The problem is it's mechusa the shear, like we say, kisuse michta shiura. It's treated as if it's ground up, and therefore it doesn't have the shear, which is it comes up throughout Shas this rule. I know it's counterintuitive. That's the word I was looking for. However, hacha kol ma de michtes mali lekisi. As far as kisi adam, the more it's ground up, the more it's useful to be used for kisi adam. So therefore, it doesn't detract the fact that it's asab hana. It is no shear. It's supposed to be ground up. So therefore, it doesn't detract from its ability to be used for kisi hadam. Hajan Allah per kisi hadam. Zok the Mishnah. Per gid hanosha. The pasuk says that a gid hanosha is also from the Yavik Ishimai, from Yaakov's fight with the Malach. So the Gemara says, gid hanosha noyig ba'aretz or b'chutz la'aretz. Gid hanosha is noyig whether in Eretz Yisrael or outside of Eretz Yisrael. B'fnei abayis shaloi b'fnei abayis. Whether it's when the Beis Hamikdash is extant or whether it's destroyed. B'chulan or b'mikdasha. Both on Chullin is a din of gid hanosha as well as on Kodshim. The Gemara is going to jump into this question: how are you going to have gid hanosha on Kodshim? Kodshim is already aser. You can have both. You can either have the din of isser gid hanosha or the isser of Kodshim. How do you have the isser Kodshim taking place on top of the isser gid hanosha? Ein isser chalalis. V'noyig b'behema u'b'chaya. It's noyig both on a behema as well as a chaya. There's an isser of gid hanosha on both of them. B'yerach shel yamin u'b'yerach shel shmoil. It's both on the right leg, the right thigh, the gid that the sinu that's in the right leg, as well as that in the left, which is the machlekes tanaim. We'll see those that argue and say that it's only on one of them, probably the right. And it's not noyig on a bird. Measure in kaf. The pasuk says, "Where's the pasuk?" Um, the pasuk says, "Al kain leyochlu me Yisrael is gina nosha shal kafa yerach ada yoymazeh." Yidden shouldn't eat the gid nosha, which is this sinu of the gid nosha, which is al kaf hayerach, which is on the spoon of the meat of the thigh. It means the back leg of a animal has a bulging muscle by the thigh, the basar of the thigh, and that's where the gid hanosha rests. So it's dependent. You have to have the gid hanosha itself, and it has to be resting on the thigh. So a bird doesn't have the muscle of the thigh, so therefore it can't have a gid hanosha. The noyig b'shlil. It also applies to a shlil, which is a, a fetus. That means the Gemara is going to explain later what this is, and this is going to be dependent on whether the Gemara says we're talking about a full-fledged fetus that's capable of surviving. That when you shech the mother, we're going to see different pshatim in the Gemara, but the Pasha pshat is talking about a shlil, a fetus, and it depends on whether the shechita of the mother also is matir the child. If the fetus is just considered to be part of the mother, that it becomes mutter with the shechita of the mother. So according to the Manda Amar, Rashi says, according to the Manda Amar, who says that it needs its own shechita, therefore it's good. The fetus needs its own shechita. It doesn't become mutter with the shechita of the mother. Therefore, it also is going to have this of Giran Nosha. We had this in the Gemara earlier. Yehuda disagrees. He says when you shech the mother, it also is matter the fetus, and therefore the fetus does not have its own independent Giran Nosha. It's considered to be part of the mother. The chelvoy mutter, and its chelev is mutter. The pashtus, this is a continuation of what we just said. Just like the Giran Nosha is mutter, the chelev of the fetus is also going to be mutter. But the Gemara will later discuss if it's saying a different din, it's just saying a din of chelev altogether. The ein hatavach emanim al Giran Nosha. Divrei Reb Meir. Reb Meir says you can't trust the butchers when they say they remove the Giran Nosha because it's very difficult to do. That's taka our psak, our minig, that we don't eat the Giran Nosha at all because of the difficulty of removing it. Not necessarily because I don't mean to say that because we don't trust the butchers when they say that they don't do it, but it is so difficult that we don't even try to do it. He says they are neman to say they remove the Giran Nosha as well as the chelev. Again, the Gemara is going to explain which chelev we're talking about. So the Gemara, Mukdashin, we said that Giran Nosha is noyeg by kachim. Pshita, mishum the akdashay pakale isa ginmine. What's the havamina that there wouldn't be a isa Giran Nosha on kachim? This animal was born, and as soon as it's born, it has a isa Giran Nosha because it has a Giran Nosha in it. And then later on, you makdash it. Why would he say ain't isa chal iser to take away the previous iser? Once the iser is there, it doesn't go away because there's a new iser. So why would we say that the iser Giran Nosha goes away? And if you'll say yesh begidim benoisen tam, maybe it's coming to tell you that there's a tam that gidin have a taste. For us, excuse me, that there is a flavor to it. So there is a hana from it. And it's coming to tell you that the iser of Giran Nosha, in addition to the iser of eating the Giran Nosha, and he's also going to get an iser of mukdashin because it's hektish of meila because he's having hana from eating kachim. It's coming to tell you that both kachim can be chal. Now, if we were just talking, if there was no nois and tam on a gid, you wouldn't be over the isser of meila from eating kachim and having hana from it because there's no hana. If there's no tam, this can't be hana. Um, so Zok the Gemara. Hi, Mukdashin no begid me by if that's what it's coming to tell you, it shouldn't say that the Isser Gid Anasha is Noyig by Mukdashin. It should be saying that the end of Mukdashin is Noyig on the Gid. Elo Kasavar Ein Begid in Tam. Rather, it was saying by Gidin there is no Tam, there is no Hana. Over Mukdashin, Isser over Mukdashin, Isser Gid Ika, Isser Mukdashin Leka. Really, there's only Isser of Gid. Because the Gid, the Torah said that you're not allowed to eat the Gid Anasha whether there's a flavor in it or not. But as far as the Isser Me'ilah of having Hana from Kachim, there's not going to be any problem because there's no Hana from eating it. It's hard. It's tasteless. The Samar that done, Ein Begid in Reisin Tam. Fact the Gemara, is that true? Does our man the Amar hold that there's no Tam in a Gid? Vatnan, Yelshin is Bashal Ba Gid Hanasha. If someone cooked the thigh of an animal together with the gid hanasha, im yesh ba tam. If the gid is large enough compared to the size of the yerech of the thigh to give it a tam, harezu asur, then it asers the thigh with eating because we say the tam of the gid went into the thigh. So that it presumes obviously that there is a tam of the gid, or else it couldn't give its taste to the thigh. So l'chayra, our Mishnah. It's a stam Mishnah that says there is a tam in the gid. So how could you say that we're talking about whether there's an isser we're just talking about whether there is an isser gid on mukdashin. So tomorrow, im yesh elahacha. The vlad is kachim askina. We're talking about a vlad of kachim. Because savar, so we take a hold, there is a tam of in a gid, and therefore the Mishnah really theoretically should have said. And the question is then, what's the chiddush to say that there is a isser of a gid together with kachim, even on kachim? The Isser Gid came before the Isser Kachim. So the Gemara says, no. We're talking about the child of Kachim. That means you had an oila that gave birth. It was hoktish to be an oila, and it gave birth. Kasav noyig b'shlil. And we hold that the Isser of Gid Anasha applies even to the fetus, even to the vlad inside of the mother. Kasav vlad is Kachim. And we hold that the children of Kachim become Kachim even when they're still in the mother, right? In Oila, as soon as it forms a fetus inside of it, as soon as it forms a vlad inside of it, that vlad also becomes Kachim. So both of them are coming at the same time. Once they're coming at the same time, it's taka chiddush that the Isser Gid will be Chal, even though there's already an Isser Kachim. So Gemara, can we be talking about the Isser Gid being Chal on the Kachim of a child, a fetus of a mother who's Kachim? The Mishnah itself said that it's also Noyig by a Vlad while it's still inside the mother. So we see that the Reish is not talking about the Shlil, because we say we're coming to say a Chiddush. Well, if we had already said that it's Chal by Kachim only by the case of a Shlil, why do we have to say later on that the Isser of Gid Anosha is Noyig by a Shlil? It wouldn't have, we already, clearly if we're saying that the Isser of gid of a shlil is noig by kashim, it means that it must be chlal on its own. Um, so we're saying this is a machlokes that you could see taka that from the beginning of the Mishnah, the Gid Anosh is noig b'shlil, but we're coming to tell you over here that Rabbi Yehuda disagrees, and it's that when we say that it's noig b'shlil, Rabbi Yehuda doesn't agree that it's noig b'shlil, and he obviously wouldn't be able to say this din that Gid Anosh is also noig by kosher, because the only case is by a shlil. Okay, you know what? We'll stop over here. I don't see a natural ending spot for a while. Shkoyach.
Yes, correct.